Hello everyone, my name is Javier Gomez, member of the UDS technical team, and in this video we're going to see how to deploy a Linux machine with UDS. To do this, we're going to need a Ubuntu machine template. In our case, it's going to be an Ubuntu 20 and an UDS deployment. Of course, we have to say that this whole deployment is going to be done in a VMware vSphere environment. So now we can start. Let's access our UDS server, and let's access with an administrator user or the super user. In our case, it's going to be the super user. So let's put the username and the password. Okay. So now that we're inside, let's enter the dashboard. Inside the dashboard, let's start to configure the different tasks that we need. The first thing that we're going to do is go to the services part. Let's click on new, and in our case, as you remember, we are in a VMware environment, so let's click VMware vSensor. Let's tell him a name. Let's tell him a host, the IP in our case that our vSensor. In my case is .3. The port in my case is 443. And now we're going to need a user that has the sufficient privileges to deploy the machines. And the password now. Okay, in the advanced tab, we can leave it by default. We can click on test to see the test has passed. Okay, successfully. So we can now click on save. Once this service is already created, we can get inside to create a new base service. So let's click on new. As you can see, we have three options. We can have full clone, link include, or a fixed machine pool. For this example, we'll use linked clones. Let's select a name. Let's put Linux. Then in the data center, let's enter the one that you need. In my case, is data center. The group of machines where there will be saved the publication. Here it is. The data stores where everything is going to be saved. In our case, as we see, we have two SSDs. We are going to choose both, and it will choose the one that has more free space. Let's click in the machine tab. The first thing will be the resource pool one where we want these machines and template. There it is. And in the base machine, let's choose our Ubuntu 20 template. There it is. Let's also tell them the RAM that these machines are going to have. In this case, it's going to be 2 gigs of RAM. The main network for these machines. The folder where the clones will be stored. And now the data stores again. If you remember, you choose both, it will choose the one that has more free space. Let's also tell a name for these machines, for these clones. In this case, it's going to be Ubuntu. So inside the platform, we can see these names and the name length. In this case, we will put 3. 3 will be the total numbers that we can add as maximum to the names of the machine. It will be 000, 001, 002. In this case, until 999. As I put 3. In the advanced tab, we can leave it by default. Okay, so once we have the service already configured, we can go to our authenticators tab. Inside the authenticators, we already had an internal database created with an admin group and a user. This user in this case is an administrator. Once this done, we can go to the OS Manager tab Let's go to Linux US Manager. Let's tell it a name, a simple one. And in the logout action, we will tell what's going to happen to the machine when the user logouts of this machine. We can have a persistent machine, a semi-persistent machine, or a non-persistent machine. As you can see, we will choose remove service, so this will be a non-persistent machine. Also, let's tell it an idle time for an activity so that that machine could be erased past that time. The advanced tab, we can leave it by default and we can click on save. Once we have the OS manager, we can go to the transports. In the transport tab, we have two important tabs, direct ones and tunnel ones. We will create one of each. We will create a direct RDP connection. Let's tell it a simple name. Okay, great. The priority in our case is going to be 1. Everything else can be left by default. The credentials, if you want, you can put the credentials to the machine. In our case, we want the credentials to be redirected, so we can choose the username and the password. And in my case, this machine does not enter any domain, so we can check it. The parameters tab, we can leave it by default or indicate the ones that you need. Same in the display tab, we can leave it by default. And in the Linux client, macOS and advanced tab, for now we can leave them by default. So we can save. Now let's create the second one. It's going to be a tunnelized HTML5 connection. Let's tell him a simple name, HTML5. In this case, we will go change the priority. As the last one was number 1, this will be number 2, so it will have a bit less priority, and this will be the second transport. Everything else we can leave it by default, so let's go to the tab. Here in the tunnel part, we will have to tell him the IP of our tunneler or the DNS name. In the case that we choose the IP, we can access the tunnel locally. Of course, we can't forget to tell the port. In this case, by default, with HTML5, it's 10443. The credentials tab will be same as before. We will tell them the username and the password, so those can be redirected to the machine. And it's not in our domain, so we can tell it. The parameters tab, we can leave it by default, and same will be done in the advanced tab. We can click on save and ready. Once we have this, we can start creating our service pool. We'll create a new service pool. Let's create new name, Ubuntu 20. Let's tell them the base service that we have created before, the OS manager that we have created before, of course. In the display tab, for now we can leave it by default. We could tell on an image or a pool group if it's required, but for now it's not mandatory, so we'll click on advanced. The advanced tab, the same, we can leave it by default. And the availability tab, we will tell them that we want 2 machines in level 1 cache, and for maximum we want 5 machines. So we can now click on save. Let's access this service. In the publications tab, we can see that publication machine is already being created. Let's go in the VMware so you can see it, and you can see it right there. In the meanwhile, let's assign the groups that we want to see this machine or this service better. Authenticate, in this case, internal database, and the group will be the admin group that we have created. Of course, we can't forget to assign the 2 transports that we have created before, HTML5 and our DP direct, the second one. Great. Let's go again to the publication tab. The status has already changed in preparation. As you can see, it's already in a valid state. So once it's in a valid state, we can go to the cache tab So we can see how these machines are already being created. We go to vSphere, and you can see the applications tab. It's being created in your machines. As you can see here in the base name, we will have the 3 numbers. The first machine will be the 000, the next one will be the 001. So already we can see that the actor has been detected, and the second machine has already started creating, and it will have the number 001. So the first machine is already in a valid state, so we can now access this machine. Let's test this. We can go to the user mode. Let's access with the user that we have already created. This is what the user will see. The server is already prepared, and it will have 2 transports and the connection tab. It will see both of the transports that we have created before. If you don't have 2 transports and you only have 1, you can click on the service and it will automatically go inside the service. Let's do a test to see if this works. Let's connect with RDP to this machine, and of course you will have to have the UDS client installed in your machine, your local machine. So let's open the tab, let's open the UDS client, and it will start with the connection. And as you can see, we are already connected to our Ubuntu machine. And we have set in the OS manager, when the user does log out, we will go to dashboard to see this. The machine will be erased. We will go to the service pool, and as you can see, it's assigned service. It's already being removed. It will be shut down in the platform and erased. Behind this, we will already be creating a new machine. As you can see, the 002. We can see it in cache tab. Our 2 machines are already in a valid state. Let's do a last test to see how the HTML5 connection protocol works. Let's click on it. And as you can see, it will open a new tab in your browser. And in this way, you can access to your machine with HTML5. Let's log out of this one too. And this will be all. I hope this video can help you, and thank you very much for your time. Bye.